Isn't it a beautiful day to review some resource packs? Oh, hi, how you doing? So I know I haven't uploaded in like 2 months, but if you guys watched the shorts, you probably didn't even notice. So to make a long story short, the AIO pump in my computer died, and so for a while I was working from a laptop until I built a brand new computer, which you're watching this video on right now. And I'm gonna get the AIO pump replaced in that other computer so I can use it as a backup in the future so I don't have to work from a laptop. But yeah, that's just kind of why I haven't uploaded, unless you guys have been watching my shorts, which I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. Anyways, today we are going to review some resource packs in Minecraft. I know, foreign concept, but I did pick out a bunch that I think are super cool. And then of course, after this video, the hardcore videos will resume. And to give you guys a little sneak peek, here is the thumbnail. So I hope you guys are excited for that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into 15 vanilla friendly resource packs for 2025. Links will be in the description. Alright, so let's kick off today's video in a little bit of a winter wonderland aesthetic. And the first resource pack I want to talk about here is a resource pack called Fogulous. Now, I feel like this one is very, very underrated, as it really does give vanilla Minecraft a very nice look to it if you're somebody that doesn't want to use shaders but wants to get that ambient feel. As you can see out in the distance, we have some nicely colored white fog that slowly but surely gets more thick as you look farther out, and definitely makes that mountain range look a lot farther away and a lot more appealing. Now, you might be wondering, well, Joey, why would I use this resource pack when I can just turn down my render distance? Well, let's go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a before and after presentation here. So right now, we currently have a lot of render distance to check out the landscape behind us. Now we're going to go ahead and swap on over to a shorter render distance, and as you'll see, it's basically a brick wall of fog once you do that. And finally, we can go ahead and move on over to this resource pack, which makes things look super scenic, super ambient, and very nice. Now you'll notice that the fog from that clip is kind of blue colored fog, whereas the fog here is white colored fog. And that is because depending on the biome you're in, it's going to be closer to you, it could be farther from you, it could have different colors, etc. For example, I went ahead and jumped into this brand new world to find this pale garden, and as you can see, right now everything looks fairly normal. However, as I back into the garden, you'll notice that the fog is going to change colors and get a lot thicker. And this in and of itself is already something that a lot of mods aim to accomplish, but this is in the form of a resource pack. So the pale garden, in my opinion, is one of the biomes that benefits the most from this, but we can go ahead and move on to another one, such as the mangrove swamp, and as you'll see as I back into it, it also gets a little bit thicker and gets its own unique color. But this isn't only biomes that are above the surface, as the deep dark will also benefit from this. So as you can see, I'm just currently in spectator mode in the middle of a bunch of stone, and as we go down into the ancient city, you'll notice that the fog gets really dark blue and gets really, really thick, and I think this looks fantastic. So I'm a very big fan of this resource pack, and if you're somebody that doesn't like to use shaders, but you do want Minecraft to look a bit more ambient and a bit more immersive, then this resource pack is definitely for you. Now, moving on over from atmospherics, let's talk about some combat-oriented resource packs. Now, you're gonna have to hear me out, okay, because I bet this is gonna be really weird to some of you at first, and I thought it was too, but then I gave it a little look over, and I was like, you know what? It kind of makes sense, and I'm probably just gonna use this for the rest of time. Let's take this little shield right here, and let's slap it on. And if you look at the left side of the screen, you might be wondering, why is he holding the shield like that? Well, that's because you hold it that way in third person. You hold it sideways, not out in front of you like this at all times, like it normally is in default Minecraft. And this resource pack is called Shield by Side, and it simulates a more realistic means of you holding your shield, just like you do in third person, except for in first person. As you can see, holding it sideways, and in first person, holding it sideways, and then I bring it out in front whenever I block. So it just kind of like matches up the perspective of the shield when looking in first person. Now, Now, you guys know it's not a resource pack video without your boy talking about a mace retexture, and I think this one is pretty cool. So why don't we pair our new shield with something called the Windswept Mace. Now, as you guys know, the breeze rod and the heavy core is what makes up a mace. The breeze rod, of course, being a windy type item from a windy type mob, and then of course the heavy core, which is the head of the mace. Well, the Windswept Mace is literally just a windswept mace. It's almost as though the breeze rod is pumping in air that is then sweeping around the mace and giving it this nice little animated texture. And I don't know, I'm a sucker for 3D maces or just mace retextures in general. You guys know I am, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I will say that in first person it does look fairly small compared to, well, you know, it's huge because it's the actual heavy core. So that's really my only critique on this actual retexture on, you know, how they want to make the mace look. But I do think that it's a really cool resource pack nonetheless, and looks pretty nice with a more realistic shield resource pack. Alright, so I went ahead and loaded into a creative copy of my hardcore world because I feel like this is an excellent world to just go ahead and showcase this off to you guys. Now, I've covered Recolourful containers before on this channel, and if you guys don't remember what that is, I can go ahead and swap to survival, and that's basically what gives me this UI, the recipe book, changes basically any of the actual utility block UIs in the game, and makes them look unique. I can go ahead and slap this shulker box down, you can see that it's purple. Slap this one down, it's blue on the inside, yada yada. You guys know what this pack is, it's been talked about a ton. Well, it got a new update for 1.21.4, and I gotta say, it's beautiful. And I wanted to bring this up to you guys for those of you that haven't been keeping up to date. And the new update, among other things, introduced brand new villager trading UIs. And I think this is just amazing. I mean, it is so clean. And the villager trading UI is dependent on the villager and specifically where it's from. So we can see that this is a cartographer villager because it has the little monocle right there. And it also has the unique texture for him being from a swamp biome. So if I go ahead and swap on over to creative mode and fly all the way over here to where we have some different villagers, we can go ahead and take a look at this one in the stall. And as you'll see, it is a librarian because it has the book on its head and the glasses, and it shows that it is a plains villager. If I go ahead and head on over here, I believe these guys are jungle villagers, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they are. And if we interact with them, you'll see that they have the jungle textures. I think that out of all of the UIs out of all of the resource packs that change UIs in this game, Recolourful containers usually tends to be the best, at least in my opinion. And this just, it just cements it. I mean, this is just such a clean UI. And I know that there are some other resource packs out there that do unique UIs, but this one is just so simple, so clean, and I absolutely love it. And keeping with the villager theme, I now want to bring up a brand new resource pack that I found called Vocal Villagers, which is going to implement a ton of new dialogue for these guys and make them sound a lot less repetitive and give them a bunch of new sounds without taking away the old ones. So I'm going to go ahead and walk into my little farm here and let you guys get a little bit of a listen. So as you can hear, there are some brand new audio cues among the old ones, but I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of audio provided by the pack creator so you can kind of get a sense of how different these audios can get under a bunch of different circumstances. For our next pack, let's bring things on over to the Nether and talk about Piglins as we tackle Owl's Piglins Revamped. Now this of course is a vanilla style pack that gives the Piglins a little bit of an uplift. You can see a little shirtless one right there, an armored Piglin right here, which looks incredibly nice. We have another armored Piglin right there. We have one that's more centered around the Warped Forest. This one, the Crimson. But by far, my favorite... this is another one of my favorites. The baby piglins look absolutely fantastic. They kind of look like, it kind of made me think of the Minecraft movie a little bit. But what is by far my favorite part of this pack is the Piglin peaceful mode. The Piglin brutes. These things are about as true to form as you can get and really convey to the player, hey, this guy is gonna kick my butt. Unlike a traditional Piglin brute, which just kind of looks like a regular Piglin but wearing black. These guys look fantastic. I love the design of the Piglin brutes. They look super cool, super rad, and to go with the regular Piglins, I don't know, it's just all in all a fantastic pack, and of course does come with fresh animation support. Speaking of our buddy Al, he also released another pack not too long ago that is known as Al's 3D Potions. And I gotta say, I do like this pack a lot. Now, these potions are a little bit big in my opinion. I mean, not that it really bothers me all that much, because the designs themselves are very clean, especially the ominous bottle. Very big fan of how the ominous bottle turned out. And as you'll see, there's a little cork on the top if it's just a drinkable potion. If it's one that you throw, you can see it has a slightly different design here. And if it's a lingering potion, it also has yet another design. One of the coolest quirks of this pack, however, is the fact that whenever you fight other mobs that use potions, you'll actually visually see these potions on said mob. So of course we have the witches with their potion set being this little purple potion right here. And if you ever do come across raid captains, you'll see the same thing on their waist as well. And since I like to pair a lot of these resource packs together, while on the topic of 3D things, I believe it's called Pickle. I want to talk about Pickle's 3D tools. Now, I've been searching far and wide for really good 3D tool resource packs, and out of all the ones that I've seen, I kind of think this one might be the best. I mean, there's been plenty of searching on my part, and I really do like the simplicity of these tools. I feel like these honestly could go really well with something like the Bare Bones texture pack, but it does seem like these do come across looking very cool. If you're somebody that does like the 3D tool aesthetic and have been looking for a new resource pack that you want to give a try, then I don't know, maybe try this one out. I do like it a lot, and I feel like if you were to pair it with a more simple resource pack, then it would really shine. Moving on to our next resource pack, I want to talk about AR's OreUI. Now, I did talk about an OreUI resource pack in a full-blown video a few months ago, but this one feels a little bit more feature complete to me, and in my opinion, is a more complete package. So this is the title screen whenever you load in, and for those of you guys that do not know, this is directly based off of some leaks that were found in the Bedrock game files of Mojang potentially doing a UI rework. So that's kind of where this idea comes from, but I do think it does look quite nice. So if we go and open up the inventory, this is the new look for the inventory. I'm especially a very big fan of how they went about this recipe button, as it kind of just clicks in whenever you highlight it. And then of course this recipe menu right here just looks absolutely phenomenal. If we go ahead and move on over to the shulkers, you can see that there is full support for all of the colors. We can then move on over to these containers right here. You have the chest, the ender chest, the barrel, the crafting table. We also have the enchanting table right here. And then over here, we have the furnace, the smithing table, the brewing stand, the loom, as well as the anvil, among others. I do think that this pack is absolutely phenomenal. And if you're somebody that is a fan of the leaked UI rework, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, I feel like this one is the pristine version if you are looking for something to kind of replicate that feel. Next up for the list, we actually have one that is pretty damn useful, especially if you are a newer player and are wondering what is going to look best as far as armor trims are concerned. This, of course, is called the Armor Trim Preview Resource Pack, and as you might imagine, whenever you find an armor trim in the wild and you want to, I don't know, let's say know what it looks like, instead of using something like a third-party program, you can just highlight over the trim itself, and in the UI, it is going to show you what exactly this trim looks like. It's going to have the iron armor with a black trim, just to give you the most neutral possible means to see what it's going to look like. So if you are newer to the game, or you still don't really understand what all the trims look like because you just don't have them all memorized, then this pack is absolutely excellent whenever you find stuff in the wild to help you determine whether or not you want to actually throw it on your gear, or if you just want to leave it where you found it. Now, if you're someone that plays a lot of modded Minecraft like me, you might know that, well, updating to the newest Minecraft version whenever it comes out normally doesn't happen, because a lot of your favorite mods are still, you know, basically for a version that is fairly old, and the mod creators are currently working to get it to the new version. So not all of us really update the second that a new update comes out. Well, I wanted to bring to your guys' attention a new vanilla tweaks option, which actually backports the spawn eggs from the newest Minecraft update. So if you're somebody that still wants as much of a vanilla feel as possible without using a custom spawn egg resource pack, but you know, you're not updated to the proper version, which I believe is 1.21.5 now. Well, if you want all of this, but you're not in 1.21.5, you can use the backport option on Vanilla Tweaks and get it into your game. Vanilla Tweaks stays one of the greatest, if not the greatest resource pack of all time, and adding options like this at a whim as soon as they're introduced is part of the reason why. Moving on to our next pack, we have one called Eco Attire, which essentially applies the exact same like clothing system that the villagers have, but to a lot of the other mobs as well. So if we take a look at the desert here that we're in and we spawn in specific mobs like the pillagers, you'll notice that they're actually dressed in the same garments that we will see villagers in. If we spawn in regular zombies inside the desert, they are the exact same way, and even are the skeletons. To go ahead and give you guys some more examples, we can go ahead and head on over into the jungle, place some pillagers down, and you'll see that they have the jungle garments on. The zombies are going to do the same thing, as well as the skeletons. I think this is a cute little detail, and honestly doesn't do too much like a lot of the packs do that I have covered in the past, and this is probably the most vanilla friendly one whenever it comes to a bunch of variants in other enemies. And yeah, as you can expect, if you were to place these guys into plains biomes, then, well, they would look absolutely normal. And yeah, it only changes depending on the biome that they're in if a villager gets specific clothing in that biome. Alright, so back on the hardcore world copy, because I need some enchanted gear to showcase to you guys, because we're going to be talking about Blob's Enchant Icons. Now, I've covered Enchant Icon resource packs in the past, but this one is fairly unique as, well, the actual icons themselves are a little bit more detailed than your traditional one. So if we go ahead and take a look, actually, let me go ahead and make my GUI just a little bit bigger. There we go. If we go ahead and take a look at our armor, you'll actually notice that there are some very specific icons that normally aren't this detailed. So protection, we have a chest piece. Respiration, we have a snorkel. Aqua affinity, unbreaking, mending being the XP. As you can see, there's just a little bit of more detail here with Swift Sneak having a little Steve icon, and I think it just generally looks pretty cool. Now, for some people, these icons might be a little bit much, and you might not want to see them in this much detail, so maybe you just want something a little bit more simple. And that, of course, is where color enchantment is going to come into play. As you can see here, it's just going to color code the different enchantments that you have on your gear. So instead of applying a very specific icon to them, it's just going to color code them instead. That way you don't have to worry about there being too much clutter, but it's still going to be slightly different than what you're traditionally used to in vanilla. As always, ladies and gentlemen, all good things must come to an end, so we are going to talk about the final resource pack for today's video, which is actually for my builders out there, and it's called Flower Pots Plus. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a flower pot. How much better could it get? Now, as you can see, this one actually has some texture to it. In the base game, it's just kind of like a flat color just about, but this one gives it a little bit of grooves and everything like that. But where the real kind of flavor comes into play with this resource pack is it actually textures, or retextures rather, some of the plants that you can put in there by giving them some new looks, as well as making them look a bit more spiffy, as you can see via these two images here. And I just thought it was pretty nice. It's not exactly going to be absolutely game breaking and, you know, super different, something you're going to notice all the time, but if you're somebody that likes to build a lot and add detail, then this is a pack that you yourself might end up using. And for me, even though I don't use, you know, flower pots like almost at all, I don't see why not to add it, because it literally just looks better than vanilla. And yeah, no performance hit or anything like that. But ladies and gentlemen, fellas, thank you all so much for watching today's video. This is the first of many with the new desktop computer, and hopefully there will be a hardcore episode out shortly after this one goes up. But let me know what you all think down in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, what you would like to see from me next, as I've been itching to make a lot more long form content, seeing as I haven't done it in about 2 months. But guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.